Oh boy, it seems like every new anime I decide to pick up this year becomes a contender for the best thing that's dropped so far. Recently it was Ashi for me, and now it may very well be the new Cyberpunk production that just released only a couple weeks ago. I just finished watching the series a couple days ago, and before scripting this video I honestly had to take a day or two to let what I just watched sit with me, because oh man, this anime was, to say the least, a roller coaster of just straight insanity. I'm sure a lot of you have probably seen this new anime floating around online with probably this or maybe this image, because that's how I came across the series, and I wasn't necessarily interested in the show at first, mainly due to the name Cyberpunk in its title and the amazing reputation that we know the game has. But it's safe to say that I was pleasantly surprised and definitely glad I gave the show a chance. To give an overview on the show, Cyberpunk Edgerunners follows the story of a teenager named David Martinez in a world dictated by technology and body modification set in a futuristic dystopian environment called Night City. David is definitely lower class than the standards set within his city, and he and his mom are essentially living day to day trying to survive. His mom plays the game that the higher ups set and wants David to excel through his prestigious school that she works day and night to send him to in order to give David a better life, and despite being super underprivileged, David is still a top tier student in the school, which causes him to have issues with his peers and leads to something terrible happening to them, which changed David's life forever and forced his hand to equip an implant or modification called a Sandevistan in order to survive in this city as a quote-unquote edge runner, someone above the law. He meets a girl called Lucy, which you have probably seen before, and joins a group of these edge runners and begins his journey to survive in this harsh town. Cyberpunk Edgerunners is definitely a unique portrayal of storytelling, and through this very brief 10-episode series, the producers managed to perfectly depict the characters along with the world they're set in. With Trigger Studios behind the project, the producers of Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill, of course the show had to start with a bang, and the first episode had some of the best setups in an anime that I've seen in a while. The story does not spoon feed you information and lets you figure out certain aspects of the story as you go along the journey with the main cast, and this was pretty clearly going to be the case from the literal first scene of the anime with the altercation that happened, and it's honestly one of the main aspects of the story that I loved. Cyberpsychosis, eddies, netrunner, there's a bunch of different terms that are stated but not explicitly explained, and finding out context to these during events later down the line just makes everything feel natural and significant, along with unveiling more about this dystopian society that not only we as the audience are thrown into, but the main character as well, who just like us is new to this lifestyle. The first episode did a lot to portray not only the unique vibe and aesthetic of the city landscape, but the society and standards set within. Trauma Team is the emergency rescue squad within the show, and they are bound to help only those of a certain status. And although this is not stated through a set dialogue between two characters or a narrator or something, it's shown to us through David and his injured mom and their refusal to help them due to them not being part of the program. This is something that happens at the very beginning of the story and portrays to us the depressing reality of how people are valued in this world. This vibe later changes though with the introduction of all the other characters that will soon be the gang that David is with for the rest of the series. A group of criminals who, despite being above the law, are basically in the same position as David and are forced to act in the way they do in order to survive. You got people like Rebecca, who's the wild and psycho part of the group, Maine, who is shown to be the leader figure, and Lucy, who serves as the deuteragonist and love interest for David. This is only to name a few of the gang, and there's a lot more personalities within the group, and most if not all have their key moments within the story that just makes you feel a certain type of way. With the story only being a measly 10 episodes long, every episode was jam-packed and there was rarely any scenes that were wasted. Some people have been saying that the story was rushed, but for me it felt as if it was tailor-made that way in order to keep you on your toes and provide that fast-paced form of storytelling which suits the environment that the characters are set in amazingly well. Something major or even minor can result in such a dramatic shift in what's to come next, and this is portrayed time and time again within the story all the way to the absolute end. And it's definitely one of the main aspects that makes this show so damn intriguing and pulls you into the moment. Seeing David and the rest of the gang react to all these different events is always interesting to see, and most of the time reflects their experiences within this lifestyle and how it has affected them. An example that comes to mind, spoilers for episode 4 by the way, is when Pilar, a funny easygoing type character, is killed, and at a moment's notice everyone is at the ready in this life with that situation, except David, who just like us is absolutely baffled at what just happened and is forced by Maine to come to his senses. The structure of these episodes is really well crafted, and the feeling of the story reaching a standstill was never really there. It was just new, fresh, engaging content every episode, with the ending being an impactful segment true to the story's theme, which was a really nice touch. Honestly, this show is really damn good, and a good chunk of my enjoyment came from the refreshing animation style and use of music and stuff, so props to Trigger and everyone else working on the project because they truly made a great series. Cyberpunk Edgerunners is a bizarre wild adventure and you should definitely give this anime a chance. It's super consumable with it only being 10 episodes long, and I doubt you'd ever get bored at any point. If you made it this far, thank you for watching, and if you've seen Cyberpunk, I want to hear your thoughts on the show down below in the comments. Subscribe, like, do all that good stuff, and I'll catch you in my next video. Peace.